Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we'll see about what is bean, how bean is managed, and what is IOC container, and we'll see the ways to define bean. So before getting started, if you are new to this channel, do subscribe, hit on the bell icon so whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Yeah, so let's get started. So in previous video I have shown you like basic project and file setup along with yes file structure. So let me rerun this. You can see that we have not written anything, but this is the basic setup itself. It is running. We have a banner and we have few info logs and thread, which class it's specifying. A few logs has been printed. So in application property, if you see here, locally it is running on port 8080. So here you see it's running on port 8080. Suppose if you want to change the port, what you can do is you can go here server.port is equal to 8081. Okay. So now if I rerun this application, now my port number will be changed to 8081. Okay. So here you see server.port has got changed to 81. So this is the um, basic thing that you do with your application property. So here by default it is printing few logs. Okay, if you want a few more logs you can just uh, debug is equal to just give us true. So now when you restart this application, there are more logs printed, right? There are uh, many logs that is getting printed. So these are hidden when you give this property and it is enabling it. That's it. So basically when you start, so you are getting something of this banner and stuffs, right? I'll show you from where you're getting this, but this is your main Spring Boot application. So this you have a run method, right? Click on this run method and this is that particular run method. So one second, yeah. So this is that class which is calling here how the banner is being printed. So here is a banner that is the banner which is getting printed and those things. It's obviously calling this internal methods, and yeah, that's how it is working internally. So let's close this for now and we'll discuss more on this annotations and how bean, what is bean, those things. So I have shown you this why application property is used, and yeah, let's get started with what is bean. In Java, what we do, suppose I have a class. Okay, suppose I have a class and I will name this as book. Okay, I have a simple Java Pojo. Okay, and imagine I have a void function, like I will tell void um, display a book. Okay, this is my function, and I can have anything, right? So I'll just system dot print out. I'll say instead of display book, I'll just say read book. So that would be more understandable. So here I will give I am reading this book. You can specify anything. I am reading this book. Okay. So this is a basic method. So in Java particularly, if you want to access this method, which is a method from one class to another class, to run this application, will this be printed in console? So let's have a look. So what I'll do is I'll just comment out this for now and I will rerun. Okay. So I have restarted the application. Basically the application is running, but what is happening, this particular print statement, this method is not called because we have not called it in the main class. As I told you, everything runs in main class, so it is not called, right? So how do you call that method into your application, I mean into your main, you create an object for it, right? So in Java, everything is object based. To create an object for that class. So how do you create an object? We create it as like book, book1 object name, or you can just specify this as object1 is equal to new book. This is how you create an object. And what you do is book1 dot what is that object name, what is that name of the object, read book, right? Read book. So you will call this method. So why it is throwing an error? Because it should be inside main class. Okay, here. So now what will happen? Let's check. This is how you create an object in Java, right? Basic object. Now I'm getting that printed in console. So how do you access that method? You create an object. So this is a basic Java how you do it. When coming to Spring Boot, we are telling we will not be using this part. So there is no usage of creating a new keyword everywhere. We'll be just telling that to create object for me. I mean, we are giving that, we are telling Spring, you create object for me. In Spring, object creation is called as bean. Okay, basically this is printing in console directly. Without an object you cannot access the method or field from that class, right? In object creation we will not be telling every time allocate space. No, we will not be using this new keyword. So this is a simple Java implementation. Let me show you how you can do it with annotation. Let me comment this out for now and let me tell book. I have told like this is the, I've created an object, but here I'm not having any usage of new keyword. What I will do is book, or else instead of book I'll tell object1. Okay, and I'll take this object1 dot read book. That's my method, right? You cannot directly access it. So what you do is you just go tell your implements command line runner. You need to implement with this run method. So this is an interface. Okay, implements, this is an interface. Yes, so inside run method you can do this, simply give. Okay, but here again it is telling initialize value. Okay, so you need to initialize it. So what I will do, I'll call this inside here. So now the error is gone. I have implemented this here. Okay, let's rerun and check what if it is giving us the output or what it is doing. Okay, if you see, it has given us error. What is the error? Null pointer exception. So which means it is telling that this object is null. See, you have created an object, but you have not told Spring that to manage it, right? There are two ways to define it. One is with the help of annotation, and one is with the help of configurations. Okay, so let's see the annotation based. So in order to tell Spring that this should be a bean, you just auto add annotation auto add. So now the Spring will know, okay, this is a bean now. So I need to create the object for it. So let's go rerun and check what is happening now. Okay, again there is an error. Let's try to solve it. So failed object1 in required a bean of type Spring one book that could not be found. Okay, so now what it is telling is, hey, you have told me that you need to create an object for this particular book, but we are not scanning it anywhere. Okay, so basically Spring application, right? This is an annotation. When I go into it, okay, internally Internally it is being managed by other application as well. Okay, see here you see other annotation, sorry. So component scan. So what this component, it's very important, component scan. So what this component scan tells Spring Boot is you need to scan all the packages under this folder. Basically, this component scan looks for a class that has component annotation. So here we have not specified any annotation. We haven't specified any annotation. That is why it has not scanned. Spring Boot application itself is an component. See, Spring Boot application itself is an component. Okay. So let me close all this and I hope you are able to understand. So basically the Spring Boot annotation, right? It itself is a component. So this component scan, when this component scan is enabled, so what it does is it scans all the classes with component annotation. Have this only in your mind and come back to this class. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll annotate this class with @component. Okay, I've annotated this with @component, and now if you see, it has imported from org spring framework stereotype component. So component is a stereotype annotation. Now let's run this. Now it is printing for us. So how does this internally work? I'll tell you once again. Basically, we have told Spring what we have told. You need to create an object. Okay. But how that object will be, that object needs to be scanned. So in order to be scanned, we are using this component annotation. So basically the Spring Boot application itself a component. We are using this component. I'll show you some of the other stereotype annotations like @service. Service is stereotype. @repository. It's a stereotype. @controller. Don't worry for now, just know these are the stereotype annotations. So now in fact, if I'm not using @component also, if I'm using @service here, it will still work the same way. I'll show you why it should work with service. I'll show you. See, I'm running. See, I'm getting that output. I'm reading this book. How this is happening? So we will follow that architecture, right, where it will the request will come from the user, and controller will go to will go to repository then access the database and come back and returns. We have that architecture, right? In order to specify each class, like this is a service, this is a controller, this is a repository, we have specific stereotype annotation, which is controller, repository and service. But this service itself is a component inside. So when I click on the service, you see it's a component. So Spring knows, okay, this is a component, and it scans that class and it gives the output. So let's comment this and uncomment this for now. You know that the thing, when a class is a component, it scans. If a class is not mentioned as a component, it does not scan. This is the basic internal working, how a bean will be created. So this is called as a bean creation. In Java, we saw we are using a new keyword, but here we are not using any new keyword. We are telling Spring to do it for us with the help of annotation. So that's it, and that's it all about bean creation. This is how a bean is created. Beans are nothing but basically the object creation, right? Component annotation is the one which creates the bean. So let's move forward. Did I miss something? Let's see the bean life cycle. Okay, so I'll show it in a simple way here itself. It's a theory part, but still, what will happen is, um, bean will be created. Actually, one thing which I forgot is this part is called as dependency injection. Okay, so component is the one which creates the bean, but you have to inject the dependency. You have to tell Spring that this class is basically dependent on this one, so inject it for me. So this is the injection part. Dependency injection part we'll see completely in upcoming videos. For basic understanding, this is a dependency injection part. Inject it, be created, and what will happen? Dependency injection will happen. Then what will happen? Bean will be initialized. Then what will happen when bean is initializing, right? We have two hooks, which is pre destroy. Let me come below. Post construct and pre destroy. I'll show you this in a moment what it does. Okay, so when bean is initialized, you have these two annotations to work on. I'll show you that. And what will be the next thing is bean will be using bean. Let's have like this. Okay, once bean is being used, and then the next step will be destroy bean. These are the life cycle, bean life cycle. So once what is happening, when you annotate with a thread component, bean will be created. And next thing what you do is you do the dependency injection. And then when bean is initialized, when you do dependency injection, the next step is the bean gets initialized. At the time of initialize, what you have two things. Okay, I will tell void call this before the before any method. So I have given this name. Okay, so in system.out, I'm thinking this method should be called before any other methods, and I tell post construct. I've created a method, so I have annotated with at the rate post construct. Let's run this and check what is happening. So before bean creation, what is happening? This method is called. So that is the use of this post construct annotation. Let me have the same thing and show you the pre-destroy. Okay, at the rate pre-destroy annotation, call this after any method. Okay, so when this will be called is when bean is destroyed. When bean will be destroyed? When we stop the application. Now let's rerun again. Here you see this is called initially because it's a post construct, this method, and after that this is getting called. This is a bean that we have created. Now when I stop the application, you see this method should be called of sorry, I didn't rename it. It's fine. Okay. When I stop it, it is calling the post destroy one. Let me rerun. Let me stop again. You see this method should be called after any method. So when you destroy the bean will be destroyed. And that's it. The creation to destroy, this is what will be happening. So that's all about bean life cycle. I hope you got some idea on how bean is created, initialized, and how it's been destroyed. Let's look into scope of the bean. In scope of the bean, you have singleton, prototype, request, those things. But majorly, we'll be seeing singleton, and in few cases we'll be using prototype. Uh, I will create another object for the same bean. You can create how many ever object you want, right? So basic Java. So I will create object 2. Okay, and I have auto wired it. I have auto wired it. Here I can again tell object 2 dot read book. Okay, so what I can do is s out object 1 dot hash code. See, in order to see your bean things and all, right, hash code is a unique key generation, right? So you can check with the help of hash codes. So yeah, book 1 and book 2. Two hash codes you will be printing here. Let's rerun and check. See, both the hash codes are same. How? You have created a different object. You have two different objects, but the object value is same. This is called a singleton. Initially in Spring, the scope is singleton. Okay? The scope of the bean is singleton. If you want to specify it, you just go here scope. Okay? And you just mention here as singleton. I had made one mistake here. So instead of defining the bean, the scope here, I defined it here. So initially it was singleton. Singleton, as I've shown you, it will have the same code, the same instance basically. See, it's having the same instance. So here, oh sorry, here I'm calling object 2. Let's object 1. So let me rerun this. It's calling the same instance. So when I make this to prototype, basically here when I go here and make this to prototype and rerun this application, what will happen? See here, this is called twice, and you see two different instances created. So this is the scope of bean singleton prototype. Most of the case you will be using singleton itself. In some case you will be using prototype. That's it all about in this video. In next video we'll see more of about dependency injection. Okay, so this is the field level dependency injection. Let's see constructor based. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any doubt or suggestion, do let me know in the comment section. Like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next video.